So, with everybody and their mom talking about this giant red lobster, I thought that I'd give it a whirl and see for myself why Claudebot is supposedly the most powerful AI tool anybody has ever seen in their lives. And I really gave it a try. I mean, I went through all of the shoutouts on the Claude.bot website. I read through all of the blog posts and articles talking about how fantastic it was. They even explained it to me in plain English, apparently, which is that Claudebot is Claude with hands, which is, the same thing that they said that Claude Code was a month ago. And what I've unfortunately come to the conclusion of is that Claudebot sucks, actually, and here's why. First, what is Claudebot actually? Well, as far as I could tell, it is Opus 4.5, which is Anthropic's bleeding edge model, the one that runs Claude Code for the most part, and the one that everybody has been talking about for the better part of the last 3 months, wrapped around Telegram, which is a messaging platform, which essentially allows you to send and receive SMS messages from and to a bot that you set up in the cloud without having to pass through an interface like VS Code or whatever, plus Cron. For those of you that don't know, Cron is basically just a way to schedule messages so that instead of you always having to initiate a conversation with, let's say, Claude Code, Claudebot can send you a message. So just so you were all on the same page here, I got Claudebot set up in Telegram, as mentioned, and I told it to schedule a good morning message to me 1 minute from now. It's now giving me a heads up that it's done the scheduling. This is the Cron thing I was mentioning a moment ago. Anyway, it didn't even actually do that, given that it's now 8:13. Thanks for nothing, Claudebot. And after some pretty painful back and forth, looks like we actually got the scheduled message, which is fantastic. Now, just so we're all on the same page here, this is useful. Okay, the ability to schedule stuff with 1 or 2 messages and the ability to work via your phone, kick off some task or whatever, is cool. But neither of these things are a paradigm shift. People have been doing this sort of thing for months, myself included, with agentic workflows, cloud-based scheduling, and so on and so forth. What Claudebot really is mostly just marketing hype. And there's kind of a clever reason for this that I'll get into. A very interesting reason why Claudebot is all over the internet right now is because a few days ago, there was a big pump and dump with a coin that somebody developed. I'll give you guys the step-by-step in a minute, but basically what's going on is Claudebot was pushed from all angles a couple of days ago by crypto grifters looking to make a bunch of money on a coin. So the sequence of events here is Claudebot went semi-viral after Peter Steinberger, the developer, put it out, made it fully open sourced, and then gave a couple of cool demos of what you could do with this technology. Now, because of the term Claude with a W, Anthropic sent a cease and desist. That forced the project to rebrand from Claudebot into Moltbot. If you ever wonder why the name of the repo changed to Moltbot, this is it. Anyway, after that happened, this rebrand created a window because the Claudebot X account changed names and their GitHub organization briefly became available for bad actors to steal. So that's what happened. People took the old handles, they immediately started squatting on the accounts, and crypto grifter people did what crypto grifter people do really well. They launched a coin. This Claude token on Solana obviously had a bunch of interest. They used a bunch of hijacked accounts to pump it and dump it, made it seem affiliated with a legitimate project, and I'm sure, although nobody has verified this yet, I'm sure there was a lot of astroturfing on social media as a result of this. Anyway, the token hits 16 mil, nothing super massive. Everybody FOMOs in because they're thinking, oh my God, this thing's huge. And what ends up happening? A bunch of people rug pull. 90% token crash. It's now sitting around 8.65 mil after the scam was exposed. Basically, Peter mentioned it online and he said, I'm not affiliated with this thing. So that's not to say Claudebot didn't have some, virality to begin with. As I mentioned, there were a couple of cool demos shown by Peter and then other people that have used it that initially sparked it. But a big chunk of the reason why you're seeing everything everywhere all at once is specifically because this is a very common play in the crypto pump and dump coin space. You get a bunch of social media accounts, hell, sometimes even sponsor and pay people to blow something up as much as humanly possible, to give the rest of the internet the illusion that this is the big thing. Now, the use cases that people have been talking about with Claudebot so far are, for the most part, honestly pretty ridiculous. I saw a post the other day that talked about organizing their downloads folder by file type. You know what else organizes your downloads folder by file type? Finder. You just click kind. There are also a lot of people talking about research. And I'm like, research is the catch-all term for people that are using technology not to make any money, but to just seem like they're being productive. Now, the use cases here to me are hilarious. It's people talking about doing Twitter research and market monitoring and daily summarization of their group chats and stuff like that. For anybody in the know, this is technobabble speak for I'm not doing anything productive right now. Most of the people saying things like, hey, I set up Claudebot to text my wife good morning and good night every day. 24 hours later, I was having full-on conversations without me even being involved. Most of the people that are saying this stuff don't seem to realize that that's just what AI can do now. I mean, Claudebot is not the thing here. This is just a wrapper that allows you to do things via Telegram, as mentioned. There are also some very legitimate concerns. Like, for instance, this thing chews through tokens. One person spent $300 on just the last 2 days doing what they perceived to be fairly basic tasks. Anyway, anytime that you see some big new tech platform thing, the development or product that's hyped up to this degree, you do have to ask yourself what the incentives are of the people that are hyping up said products. I mean, look at these posts here. This fella has 5,600 likes on a post, almost 800,000 views. This person has 600 likes on a post, almost 100,000 views. All of these people are replicating or talking about functionality that is no real difference between what Claude Opus 4.5 could have done a week ago and Claudebot can do today. And so what it is it's basically like a gold rush for social media purposes, where you're being told this story about this technology that you need to hear about, you need to download. But it doesn't help you make money. It doesn't improve your productivity by any means. And honestly, some of what people are doing here is kind of irresponsible. And this is coming from the guy that uploaded his whole genome to Claude like literally a couple of weeks ago. I mean, this fella here who has some security knowledge says there's a big disaster incoming with Claude because everybody's hosting them on VPS instances. People aren't reading the docs and they're opening their ports with 0 auth. This service right over here scanned and found over 900 Claudebot instances with no security, which means anybody can just jump in there and then read whatever auth tokens or ENV tokens that you have installed. See, in the business, we call this a massive security nightmare, but obviously that sort of thing doesn't get as many headline clicks or views as Claudebot just helped me automate talking to my wife. Another thing which I find hilarious is I don't know how many of these tutorials you guys have watched, but I've watched a few over the last couple of days because I was genuinely curious about how people were doing this thing. And maybe half of the people that were setting up Claudebot on various devices like literally had to install or use normal Claude in order to debug why their Claudebot installation was not working. This is something that is sort of being sold to you as like a consumer-ready product, but it's not. And even the founder of Claudebot mentioned specifically, most non-techies should not install this. It's not finished. I know about the sharp edges, and it's not even 3 months old. This thing hit the internet in storm like a couple of days ago. Realistically, none of these people have any idea what the hell they're doing, and then they're just telling you how to set it up using methods that are quite frankly dangerous and kind of silly. Hey, you know what else can do Twitter research and market monitoring and Telegram chat daily summaries already? Claude. And it can do so significantly more securely than this fricking Wild West thing, which is running on God knows where, which is open ports to God knows who. When you read people telling you that Claudebot is literally printing, if you look at the profit and loss charts on an account that's fully run by this AI, and the same or similar people are saying, hey, do you want to learn how to do this? Sign up to my course. You do have to be a little bit skeptical. Anyway, do you know what the really unfortunate thing is? And I could have stopped the video right here. Claudebot doesn't really help you make any money. It's not like a 0 to 1 overnight crazy successful product or anything. All it is it's an iterative improvement towards decentralized AI that run on things like VPSs that have their own autonomy, have their own email addresses and whatnot. So I'm not going to talk any more about this, but suffice to say, I will not be resuming my Claudebot Telegram chat. I think I'm just going to go back to Claude Code.